what's up, everybody? I'm going to do a classic rock reaction. This is Led Zeppelin, man, the Immigrant song. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do two reactions of the same song, man. First is a studio take, and then there's a live rendition, a live outdoor rendition. So I'm really looking forward to this, man. So, Immigrant song. Led Zeppelin, studio version. Let's get it. Fantastic, man. Is there a better rhythm section than John Bonham and John Paul Jones? This song is great for so many things, but you know what? My brain is just wrapping itself around the rhythm of this whole song. When they go into that groove and the bass is just digging it in, man, the rhythm section of this song is the star to me by far. Everything is fantastic, but it's the rhythm of the groove, man. That jamming groove, that digging bass. If I was to pick one star out of this entire song, it's the bass. Let me tell you, man, the bass makes this song what it is. The rhythm section between those two gents, fantastic. Yeah, you can probably find me another rhythm section out there that rivals them, comes close or matches them, but I am challenging you guys to find me a better rhythm section than these two Johns. Find me a better rhythm section. You find me a better rhythm section than these two Johns, man, I'll do a whole album reaction of whatever the hell it is that you recommend. I'm not convinced that there's a better rhythm section than these two Johns from what I've heard the last three albums, man. Fantastic. That is what stands out to me about this song the very, very most, man. Excellent. Okay. um, yeah, it's just a ridiculous groove to me, man. Where it comes to jamming grooves, whether it's a different genre or not, this is definitely somewhere in my top 5 best jamming grooves. That would come to mind immediately. That's how much I really respect and appreciate this tune. All right, man. Immigrant song. Now, besides being familiar with this song from years past, I had a girlfriend, and as soon as we got into my car, man, she already had this cassette tape that was already plugged in, and immediately it would start playing certain tunes. This one, Your Time Is Gonna Come, Red Barchetta, Tom Sawyer. There's a couple of songs on that one cassette, and she wore this cassette out so often that it got chewed up a number of times, but she would pull it out, splice it, put it back together, and just keep playing. There were some blank spots it would go over, but she didn't care. That's how important these tunes were to her, man. And that's how I got familiar with Immigrant song. I'll tell you a little story. I was thinking of just basically passing it by, to be honest, because I'm familiar. In my mind, it doesn't make sense to really review songs that I'm familiar with. However, recently I've had a slight change of opinion because my last experience with a Led Zeppelin tune, Your Time Is Gonna Come, my friend Paul, when I told him that I'm familiar with it and I was just gonna pass it by, oh my God, Paul lost his mind. And again, same thing. And it got to the point where I had to yield because he was getting upset. And I realized that certain songs are so important to certain people that you can't just brush it by just because you know it well. Another good example would be Hotel California, or Hey Jude, or Red Barchetta by Rush. Because I'm so familiar with these songs, I can't take it for granted that it's not important to someone else. Well, these are classic rock tunes, and they have roots in people's pedigree and people's lives, and I can't take these things for granted as I have. I didn't mean anything personal by it, so personal apology to you, Paul, and to millions of people who really, really love this particular song, the Immigrant song. I will never again just assume and just casually just say, yeah, I'm just going to bypass a certain song just because it's a familiar classic and I've heard it a million times. It's very important to certain people, so I will never again forget the personal element that song means to someone. I know how I would feel if someone just brushed aside Purple Rain. To me, that song is definitely a part of my soul. Or if you brushed aside Thriller by Michael Jackson, again, I would take that very, very personal. So I totally understand on the classic rock side, there are certain signature songs that you can't just brush aside. And this is certainly one of them. So lesson learned, serious learning curve there, man. So let's do a little read on the band and the song. Not taking anything for granted here. And just to bring myself up to speed about the formation and the history of the song. That's interesting because I know nothing about that. So first the band, man. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin were an English rock band formed in London in 1968. The group consisted of guitarist Jimmy Page, singer Robert Plant, bassist and keyboardist John Paul Jones, and drummer John Bonham. The band's heavy guitar-driven sound has led them to be cited as one of the progenitors of heavy metal. Their style drew from a wide variety of influences, including blues, psychedelia, and folk music. After changing their name from the New Yardbirds, Led Zeppelin signed a deal with Atlantic Records that afforded them considerable artistic freedom. Although the group were initially unpopular with critics, they achieved significant commercial success. Led Zeppelin are widely considered one of the most successful, innovative, and influential rock groups in history. They are one of the best-selling music artists in the history of audio recording. Various sources estimate the group's record sales at 200 to 300 million units worldwide. With RIAA certified sales of 111.5 million units, they are the third best-selling band in the US. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '95. The museum's biography of the band states that they were as influential during the 1970s as the Beatles were during the 1960s. Man, that last paragraph gets me every time. It's just such an impressive thing to state about a band, isn't it? Okay, man, Immigrant Song. Immigrant Song is a 1970 song by English rock band Led Zeppelin. It is built upon a repeating riff and features lyrical references to Norse mythology, with singer Robert Plant's howling vocals mentioning war, making, and Valhalla. The song was included on their third studio album, Led Zeppelin III, and released as a single. Several live recordings have also been issued on various Led Zeppelin albums. Other artists have recorded renditions of the song or performed it live. Though Led Zeppelin is regarded as an album-oriented group, Immigrant Song is one of the band's several hit singles and appeared on singles charts in several countries. The song's popularity has led to its inclusion in such compilation albums as Led Zeppelin Remasters and Early Days, The Best of Led Zeppelin, Volume 1. Background: Immigrant Song was written during Led Zeppelin's tour of Iceland, Bath, and Germany in the summer of 1970. The opening date of this tour took place in Reykjavik, Iceland, which inspired Plant to write the lyrics. He explained in an interview, quote, "We weren't being pompous. We did come from the land of ice and snow. We were guests of the Icelandic government on a cultural mission. We were invited to play a concert in Reykjavik, and the day before we arrived, all the civil servants went on strike, and the gig was going to be cancelled. The university prepared a concert hall for us, and it was phenomenal. The response from the kids was remarkable, and we had a great time. Immigrant Song was about that trip, and it was the opening track on the album that intended to be incredibly different." Unquote. 6 days after Led Zeppelin's appearance in Reykjavik, the band performed the song for the first time in concert during the Bath Festival. Okay. So, man, I'm splitting up my little reading portion of Immigrant Song in half because there's a tremendous amount of information here. So I'm going to break it up, man. So let's get to our second rendition of this song. And this is the live outdoor performance of Immigrant Song. I believe it was in 1972. Okay, Immigrant Song live. Let's get it. In the daytime, the 1970s.
The
the crowd. They're going into an extended jam here. Lads are just jamming their ass off. Awesome. I love that. Oh my God. Yo, man. Let me tell you, that deserves a standing O. That was excellent. Man. If ever there were four people meant to come together to create something awesome, these four guys definitely would be the embodiment of that, let me tell you. Yo, critics be damned. I'm saying it right now. I know that somewhere along the way in this bio read, I'm going to come across some dumbass critic who's going to say some stupid shit. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not having it. That was masterful. You know, it keeps taking me back to that last paragraph of their bio. As influential during the 70s as the Beatles were in the 60s. And one of my subscribers pointed out to me too that I have to consider the fact that I believe it was the Beatles' Abbey Road that was in the #1 spot. And I just finished reviewing Led Zeppelin 2, and Led Zeppelin 2 took that #1 spot away. And this was in the late 60s. So their influence really started in the 60s, you know, and they were starting to unseat certain popular bands at the time who were holding these top positions, the Stones and the Beatles, for example. So, yo, man, you know, you gotta give some props and respect. I wonder how these critics feel now, many years later, where Led Zeppelin is such a household name. You know, you talk about egg in your face, you know. Have these people come across and publicly apologized? I would be publicly apologizing for sure, man. Anyway, I don't want to turn this into a rant. This is a Led Zeppelin 3 kickoff, and I want to get into the Led Zeppelin 3 album with a nice, clean, clear slate. So, let me just continue a little bit more reading here, man. So we covered the conception of the song, the history of how it got put together. And so let's, Yeah, let's go down to the reception, public reception. In a contemporary review of Led Zeppelin, Lester Bangs of Rolling Stone. Man, Rolling Stone. All right, here we go. Lester Bang of Rolling Stone described Immigrant song as, quote, the closest to being as classic as Whole Lotta Love, praising the song's bulldozer rhythms and Plant's double-tracked wordless vocal crossings, echoing behind the main vocal like some cannibal chorus wailing in the infernal light of a savage fertility rite. Man, yo, that was a good one. That was a good review. But let me read that again. I don't think I got the gist of that. Okay. Immigrant song as the closest to being as classic as Whole Lotta Love, praising the song's, quote, bulldozer rhythms and Plant's double-tracked wordless vocal crossings, echoing behind the main vocal like some cannibal chorus wailing in the infernal light of a savage fertility rite. Damn, man. That is some serious poetry there. Yo, Lester Bangs of Rolling Stone. Okay, a good review. Wonders never cease. Apologies to you then, Lester Bangs. All right, Immigrant Song was used to open Led Zeppelin concerts from 1970 to 1972. On the second half of their 1972 concert tour of the United States, it was introduced by a short piece of music known as L.A. Drone, designed to heighten the sense of anticipation and expectation among the concert audience. By 73, Immigrant Song was occasionally being used as an encore, but was then removed from their live set list. And why was that? Do you know? It doesn't say here. It doesn't say why. Live versions of the song can be heard on the Led Zeppelin albums How the West Was Won, featuring a performance at Long Beach Arena in 1972, and the Led Zeppelin BBC sessions, a version from the Paris Theatre in London in 1971. When the song was played live, Page included a lengthy guitar solo, which was absent on the recorded Led Zeppelin 3 version. Immigrant Song was played as part of the 2009 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Jeff Beck by both Page and Beck. Oh wow, okay. Man, I gotta, if you guys have reference to that particular performance, please send me a reference to that. That's really cool. I'd like to check that out. More song facts. One of the lyrics became part of Led Zeppelin lore. The line, quote, the hammer of the gods will drive our ships to new lands, unquote, got many of their fans referring to Zeppelin's sound as, quote, hammer of the gods, unquote. The phrase was used by author Stephen Davis as the title of a book about the band. I remember a couple of months back, I thought that this was a song, and I was like, I couldn't find the song anywhere, and until, a lot of you were starting to tell me, no man, it's not a song. That was funny as hell. I felt stupid when I finally learned it wasn't a song. Okay, the line, Valhalla, I am coming, refers to Norse mythology. Valhalla is a hall in Asgard, where the souls of fallen warriors are taken by the Valkyries, which are spirits of war, who carry up heroes who have been slain. Only heroes are taken to Valhalla, where they will wait for their certain doom. Led Zeppelin meant for this song to be somewhat humorous, relating their adventures on the road to the Vikings, who fought the hordes to conquer new lands. They weren't known as a funny band, so a lot of their fans took it quite seriously. Okay. Yeah, this is where, going back to Paul here, as an example, he takes this song very, very seriously. And there was no way that I was proceeding with Led Zeppelin 3 without covering this tune. I get it now. Robert Plant's love of history played into the lyric as he was thinking about explorers like Marco Polo and how they must have felt in their travels. Just as he felt pressure to top the previous album, he wondered if these explorers felt pressure to find even better lands after a big discovery. Yeah, very interesting. Popular culture. To get permission to use the song in the movie School of Rock, the star of the movie, Jack Black, videotaped himself singing in front of a huge crowd of people, begging Led Zeppelin to let them use the song in the movie. They succeeded, and the song was featured in a scene where Black sings along to the tune when it comes on the radio in his van, which he is using to transport his students. I remember that movie. School of Rock. Excellent movie. Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and Karen O covered this song for the 2011 film adaptation of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It can be heard over the opening credits title sequence. Yet again, another great movie that I saw. If you guys haven't seen The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, you gotta check it out. Such a fantastic movie. Two great actors too. The current James Bond, Daniel Craig, I believe it is, and Rooney Mara. I think she's the big sister of Kate Mara. She's in it, and she's the girl with the dragon tattoo. Wow, man. Fantastic performance, man. Long movie, but certainly worth checking it out, man. The song soundtracks the trailer for the 2017 movie Thor Ragnarok. The iconic opening riff kicks in while Cate Blanchett, aka Hela, the goddess of death, turns to the camera. The track continues to play as she wreaks havoc in Thor's world. Yeah, excellent. Cate Blanchett has never looked more dangerous or sexy as Hela. Excellent. All right, so that is the Wikipedia song fact info of the band and the song. Lots of information, man. Excellent. Fantastic. Yeah, man. Before I go further, I definitely want to give a shout out to these folks here. Thanks very much. A number of you sent me these links, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And again, thanks to certain people, including Paul, my buddy, for the reminder of how important classic rock songs are to the pedigree and the lives of certain people. It's in your soul, and I get that. I'll never again take it for granted and just brush by a classic rock song. You know, like I said before with the example of Prince, you know, if you're gonna brush by Purple Rain, I would take it very, very personally. So I get it, man. I totally get it. You know, one part of this song, besides the bass groove, that's my favorite, there is a line in it that just conjures up a lot of images to me. Let me just go to it here. I'm just trying to bring up the lyrics. Yeah, there we are. So now you'd better stop and rebuild all your ruins, for peace and trust can win the day, despite of all you're losing. I like that line. That line is a very positive, uplifting, and encouraging line. So, okay, I'm visualizing a country that has been conquered by invaders, and to my pleasant surprise, being the person who's been conquered, this invader is not just some marauder who is just trying to conquer, rape, and pillage. They're trying to rebuild. They're trying to gather forces and unite and create something greater. So there's a saying out there, if your enemy refuses to be humbled, destroy them. However, if they submit, give them hope by saying something like this, and it's going to encourage them to reach for something better. Now they have a collective goal. They have encouragement. It gives them an outlook. And so this particular line just conjures up all of those things. And what I was really thinking is that we've got some examples in our not so distant past of people who were countries who were bitter enemies of Western democracy at first, and now they are among our strongest allies. So this particular saying resonates not only in lore and it's a principle, but it also has very, very practical meaning. So I really, really like that line. It conjures up lots of images, but they're positive images. So now you'd better stop and rebuild all your ruins, for peace and trust can win the day despite of all your losing. You can fill in the blanks, and you can probably think of certain countries that I'm talking about where this would apply to. I'm not going to get political on my channel, that's for sure. Anyways, man, this is my reaction to Immigrant song, and I appreciate the fact that I was encouraged, more like voluntold, but encouraged to explore it some more, look into it, get into the background of the song, because it's very, very deep. There's lots and lots of information, and I jumped around. There's no way I was going to read the entire body of all of the information given. So yeah, man, excellent tune. And that bass groove is something that always comes back to me. As soon as you mention Immigrant song, I immediately think of that bass groove. The rhythm section is just fantastic. So thanks again to all of you who sent me this link. I appreciate it. And I'm definitely going to look into maybe covering a few more tunes that I have thought that I might not cover because I know them. So I'll keep an open mind to that. But anyway, man, going forward, I look forward to getting into Led Zeppelin 3 a little bit more. So send me your recommendations, send me some links or whatever it is that you think that I might want to use in my upcoming reactions, and I'll certainly consider looking into it. Thanks very much, man. Have yourselves a good day, and I'll see you in my next Led Zeppelin reaction. Peace.